All right, I've started. So, where we left off last time, who wants to do a recollection?
I did
Oh,
die. I suck
we
at
got
lockpicking.
we got the stuff. We got out, and now we're back in prison or the brig while they
Yes,
decide how we did.
and it's going to be a few weeks before we get to port.
How are they going to decide how we did? That's kind of a weird thing.
I don't know. They're kind of in charge of everything around here.
I only
Send us
opened
to our
doors.
deaths, pick us up from our deaths, decide how we did.
I'm great at opening doors when there's a boss behind it.
Yes, thanks. We needed that.
Does that repair the damage over our cells?
Our cells were damaged.
Yes.
The roof around it was the wood of the boat. The metal of the cells was not.
Theoretically, they said it would take 5 days for them to repair the boat.
Yes, but what did they repair first?
For 8 weeks, we've been in our cells for 8 weeks, unless you've told us otherwise.
You've been in the cell for 8 weeks, and that's how long it takes after the repairs to get to an area where you hear the noise of everyone getting excited, and you know that that means you're coming into the port.
Did they take our stuff away again?
They did.
So, okay.
They did say you would get your who was it that had a bag of holding? You did. They said you'd get your bag of holding and the other stuff that you collected, other than the item of the mission, when you get to port. But per their contractual agreements, they have to liquidate all your other assets.
Okay.
Ooh, they're gonna make like 5 copper off my spear.
Yeah,
Their contractual agreements, huh?
Indeed, it's evident that
Interesting
this captain obviously has other people he's had dealings with that he has to follow certain regulations for one reason or another.
Well,
I lost my boom boom.
You
no, you
can
can recreate it.
you can build another
No,
boom boom.
It takes me a bit to recreate it though.
It does.
So we've been spending time talking and getting to know each other because, dang it, we are all stuck in the same place.
I got nothing else to do.
Yeah.
um, I'm trying to figure out if I could have been casting my spell or not.
Which
second.
spell?
Yes, I can. So I would have, from time to time, put on a concert.
Nice.
I've got an earthly chorus, just does a 30-foot radius, 10 minutes at a time, can basically just put on a concert.
So,
How many of the guards come and watch each time?
Well, this probably happens, at every meal or so.
Yeah.
Because I can do it 3 times a day, I think. Yeah.
it's
That
varies.
sounds like something that would be a ritual.
It's not. Unfortunately.
Either way, you get to live one way or the other.
Yeah, you have a few
Continue
come.
to make our food taste okay and play music while we eat.
There you go. You guys at least have
The other people.
you have in-flight entertainment and food. Cleoc, what?
This food tastes great, but the texture's so wrong.
So Cleoc is more interested in Yonovan than the other. Like how his magical fire stick works.
Talk to him. Let's RP this.
You, Yonovan.
Huh? What? Oh, me. What?
curious about the weapon you
That's
used
cool.
back there.
What about it?
It's interesting. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it before. We're too busy being, attacked by goblins to really ask you about it then.
Good, you'll live longer that way.
Ah,
Not many who see these things live very long.
I ignore that comment. Keep
Pharmacy
talking.
took it from you, so I don't know.
Numbers.
Is it magic?
Of a sort.
Because it's weird, because you aimed it like a crossbow, but it fired like magical fire.
Yes, it's a fairly accurate description.
I'm just curious about where you, considering we seem to be all of various places, I'm curious as to where you, well, came of that knowledge.
It was passed down to me from my father. We were metal workers with a bit of a magical flair. And so I've always made weapons. Weapons for whoever will pay.
I see. Does it only work for you?
Yes, it only works for me.
Do I even need to insight check that?
It depends on whether he's truly trying to bluff you or not. If he's truly trying to bluff you, then yeah, we'll have some opposing rolls. If he's not, then no. So it's up to Yanabin.
I'm just terrible at it. Go for it.
Okay, so let's have a roll off.
Oh, I need to actually pull up my character sheet, because that's a thing that I need to see.
Dudley actually asks any of you if you've seen a mule named Horse. He's been looking for his lost friend.
Really? It's a mule?
It's a mule, yes. He's missing his mule. His poor horse, mule, is missing.
I put too much of a mod in there. That's only 17. I didn't get it.
Wow, everyone else but you gets that I'm bluffing.
Potentially.
Hmm.
The luck of the die.
Oh, I know very well you're bluffing. It's just the Clea doesn't know.
Yeah.
So you don't.
Cleoc is uncertain as to this shifty dwarf individual. What was that for, Cookie?
I don't trust the shifty dwarf at all, because we were just allies of convenience, and the first opportunity he has to ditch us is what's going to happen.
Cookie hears the clear sarcasm in my voice.
Is that what it was, Cookie? Cookie. Uncertain. If that was what he was rolling for, yes, but I didn't know if that's what he was rolling for or not.
Okay.
And since we haven't got a response from him, we'll wait and find out, I guess.
What do you mean? I was trying to respond.
Ah, we didn't hear. Okay, so you were doing
I didn't know what modifier to add. I was
insight.
18 for that check. So plus 1, 19.
So yes,
You heard the clear sarcasm in my voice.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're wondering if you should hold your breath. You're wondering if you should hold your breath for the amount of sarcasm flowing out. But no, you're not required to. So. So have any of you seen a mule named Horse?
I think we ate one last week.
I can't help you with that. Oh, come now. We've had nothing but this filthy gruel for quite some time. I'm pretty sure we would have discovered a mule
Filthy,
named
this gruel
Horse
has
in
taste
here.
excellent.
That's true.
On a more serious note, I'm assuming we haven't seen anything that would be like stables on the ship.
No.
Right.
No, but we've had light.
Well, considering we spent the last however much time has actually passed either in these cells or on that dumb rock, no, I haven't.
Question. DM.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can I cast anything on the bars?
You can cast
Yeah.
anything you want on the bars that you're able to cast currently.
Okay. Light. What would that do?
No effect.
No effect. Okay.
Oh, that's a very astute attempt.
So I'd be
Anti-magic
casting
bars.
light and see what I could see on the bars. Test them out. Test myself what I can do.
Who was the thief here? Or the one that could pick locks?
I can
Donovan?
if I manage to keep my lockpicks on me when they took my bag.
God damn it.
I mean, they're not going to have been stored in the bag.
They,
It really depends.
yeah, they took your bag. If you want to try to hide them on yourself, you would have to make a probably sleight of hand check. Yeah.
Good, I'm proficient in.
Give me a second.
We're doomed. Even if I noticed what you were doing, I would not try to inspire you because they would notice me doing that.
Why?
Right.
If you inspire the guards
think about
to
inspiring.
do something else?
No, I can't inspire the guard. That's a bluff check.
No, it's a
Or
distraction
deception
check.
or something.
Distraction check.
Yeah.
Distraction jitsu?
That'd be a performance.
Yeah.
Yes. You said performance. You said shining his keys.
Is it performance or deception?
I would have to first notice that he's doing it,
Which you'd have to pass my sleight of hand check.
Alright, I am back. Sorry about that. Heard a scream and had to go make sure everything was okay.
Uh-huh. Alright. So, did you roll your check, Yonovan? That 18?
Yeah, I did. That's that 18.
So, I am curious if I saw him, because if I see him doing this, I'm going to attempt to... Well, let me just see if I can see him. No.
That settles that. And I would have attempted to hide this as we came out of the cave, as we saw them approaching. So fire the flare and try and hide something.
So at some point you have to surrender all our things, and that's the point at which you have to make sure that they didn't get it.
Right, so when they tell you to toss the bag first before getting on, you're like, shit. So...
You were unsuccessful. He notices that they're missing and tells you to hand them over.
God damn it.
They broke in the door back there.
He holds his hand out. So if you want to try to bluff him like that, you need to roll a deception.
Jammed in the door.
What were all those rolls for?
We can go back and show it to you if you'd like.
Were you trying to support him, or what?
Or just, yeah, support him or do a bluff as well.
Okay.
16 for deception.
Persuade. Wait, whoa.
What?
That wasn't you.
How the hell did you do that?
You didn't roll the 20. It's just the mod. You missed selecting that. Again.
And what are you rolling for?
Persuasion.
Okay. So.
He did. He was cursing Storm. So he actually shattered them.
So he does. Gare believes you. However, he also knows that the whole thing isn't left behind. So he asks for the other piece that you wouldn't have left behind.
Yeah, I would have had, one and put the rest in there. I'm not going to try and take all of them.
Okay.
I'm not that stupid, jeez.
No, it's fine. So he takes the others and you're left with basic, simple lockpick. Not the full set.
Yeah, I wouldn't have taken the full set. I would
No.
have just taken the Anyhow.
Just confirming so it's clear, that's all. I'd rather be overly clear than under and have someone, second guess or something. Exactly.
Okay.
I would never do that.
So, I've studied the downtown activities, and most of the things we're really not going to be able to do while locked up here.
That is correct. That is correct.
Now, I'm getting the feeling that I won't get a chance to do it, but I'm going to offer it anyway. I find a time when they bring us food to, offer to work on the ship for cooking or entertainment. Because it's boring sitting here in this cell.
The guard who actually delivers your food, he's like, telling me, if it wasn't for that stupid contract the captain had to agree to, he probably would have let you out by now. But, when you have to make a deal to get your ship up and working again, you kind of have to follow the rules so that you don't get yourself in trouble.
What?
Question. What? Okay,
Yes.
What makes your ship go? Power speed.
In general, I would like to ask about the workings of the ship, the crew, who they are, who they work for.
So when you probably would be only able to ask the guard who comes and delivers your food, and they're like, I don't know. I know the captain controls the ship. We're not sure what makes it move forward. It's not on a planet. It's strange.
Okay.
So can I infer that he started in a situation like we did?
Potentially, he may be from a spacefaring race, or culture, but doesn't mean that he is knowledgeable on the inner workings of the ships. Does that make sense? Just because you're on a ship as a sailor doesn't mean you know the winds, the currents, the charting. You just know what you're supposed to do.
Okay.
But you do get the feeling that there's a number of them who have been shanghaied at some point or another.
But it was his belief that, he would have let us out by now. So the thought is that we did a good enough job. It's just the captain is minding his P's and Q's until the to fulfill the contract.
That's what it sounded like from the guard, yes.
Okay.
I'm confused, guys. This
Yes.
captain, I mean, the situation doesn't make sense. On the one hand, we were all kidnapped, but here's a captain that seems to be following a letter of a law he's not in charge of.
We
But
got
I don't.
kidnapped and thrown and almost killed, come back and being treated as nothings.
Yes, but the reason we're being given a reason to be treated that way, which is intriguing to me. It's like our existence was outside the plan, but our possessions aren't. So our possessions have to be liquidated according to the law of his contract, but we don't? Which leads me into an interesting place of what's going on.
So, is the guard still around?
Yes. And actually, Cookie, he looks at you, he's like, well, yeah, you're technically are part of it, but I think he's trying to find a hole in it.
I thought we were.
Okay.
What did you say, Reku?
I thought we were just
Were you?
fair meat.
Ah, well, that's up to the individual who holds the contract. Unless, of course, the good captain can find a way around it.
And you don't know the details of the contract.
No. I was hired on at last port.
Okay, I would ask him, is there any way that he would talk to the captain personally?
Only rarely.
Okay, so he wouldn't be able to talk to the captain with a question or two
Probably not.
in 8 weeks?
Are you familiar with ships and how they work?
Yeah.
Hierarchy system? How often do the general crew talk to the captain?
Not too often, but if that's the complaint, it's enough. They can talk to the captain.
True. So you would have to convince this guard that your question is worthy of him going through what needs to be done to get the captain's ear.
Yeah. Okay, the captain's looking for a loophole on the contract. Well, is there any way we can hear the contract from him?
I doubt it.
We might be able to help him with that loophole. It's just a thought.
Are you a lawyer?
Yes.
Where'd you attend law school?
I was at a library. I had people from everywhere.
That's knowledge, not necessarily law.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the laws of the harbor?
Of the what?
The harbor, the place that we're heading to. Harbor. Star Harbor.
He wouldn't have knowledge of laws in the stars. We didn't even know about the stars.
That's essentially exactly what the guard is saying.
It's a long shot, regardless.
Yes, but contracts. I feel like quoting someone.
Never telling me the odds.
No, Sir Thomas More. You know who that is?
I should, but
I've heard of him.
It escapes me.
1500s. The king tried to make him, swear fealty or something, and he wouldn't not do it. or something. And anyway, he said something like, "A vow is words." Maybe words can be spoken. Ah, dang it, I can't quote.
A contract seems like a nice scapegoat so the underlings don't question your meaner decisions. After all, it's not you, it's just the contract.
Yeah, the guards left. So the time passes. You guys hear the hustle and bustle. You have arrived. Gary comes down and says, "The captain has to go deliver the trophy you acquired. He said to allow you all to get a bit of grub in you and get yourselves cleaned up."
I'm having trouble hearing you, Nate.
Sorry about that. Can you hear me okay now, or do I need to turn it up?
You're sounding a little bit more like a robot and not.
Oh.
The problem is not
Okay. Gary comes in and tells you guys that the captain gave orders to have you guys clean yourselves up and get ready to go.
Go where?
Probably to meet the person who requested the item, potentially. He's already headed off with a few of the crew.
Prestidigitation on myself and anyone who wants to look prim and nice.
Okay.
No dirt and stuff on our faces. Not good.
Gary does open your cells, so you guys are able to do so.
Okay.
I'm not going to do it the old-fashioned way.
I would prefer to scrub up personally.
There is water provided. And some basic, decent clothing that you can change into.
Nice.
Cool.
A box.
I appreciate the offer, but this may be the last time I touch water ever. So I'll take as good of a bath as I could.
Yeah.
Well, there's a good bit of water, and there is a fairly large barrel down in the hole that if you wanted you could fill with water and basically give yourself a rough dunk in a barrel. It's a large barrel that you guys could potentially fit in, but it'd be tight.
Wow.
We're going a little bit,
Second.
deeper into this than I had. Yeah.
You rolled a 1, huh? For common sense?
No, that was for whether the guard had left yet, or if he was there listening in on your conversation.
Oh.
Alright.
We're going deeper into how I want to take the bath more than I anticipated.
You just wanted a big, slight dipping pool that you could, do the whole bird thing in?
Absolutely.
Alright. So, a box that looks familiar, as well as a bag, is also there for you to acquire. The bag is Yonovan's. The box is one that you remember. It was the one that had the gemstones and stuff in from the goblins. It was one of the couple boxes that you guys had ran off with loot.
Why would you not liquidated that? To me, that seems.
Because the captain's...
That was a part of the contract, so he didn't have to turn it in.
Oh.
But that would be for his. So I don't know.
Hey, anybody, would you like to assess the value of the stuff in this box? I'm curious.
I opened the box.
There's a second box in Yonovan's bag as well. So in the box there was a number of gebs and coins.
Sweet.
There's a potion of healing. And that's all in that one.
And in the other box?
Yanaven.
What other box?
Really?
This is the box they were looking for, right? This was the quest box, right? They were talking about.
No. They already took the quest box. You had put a treasure box in. Oh, you poured. Right. Right. You poured the box in.
No, there's not another box in here, guys. There's a bunch of others.
Sorry, I'd forgotten you'd emptied the box in there.
Well,
But still.
Hand out a bag and pull out a handful of something.
Of what?
I don't know. I don't know what's in the box.
Do you want to empty it so you can actually see, or are you just pulling one random thing out?
I'm just gonna pull one random thing out. They don't even know what's in it.
Light.
Okay, you pull out a pair of silk gloves that have gold threading on them.
I act like I'm at an auction house. And here we have one silk glove.
Why would we actually know about bags of holding?
Well, some of you that are learned.
Roll Arcana check.
Don't put two of them together.
You'd roll an Arcana check. Cookie, you would actually be able to roll a check as well to see if you know, because being a bard, you know general random stuff.
Alright.
I'd like to think that I wouldn't know what all the properties of a bag of holding are. I was just wondering.
Not a bad roll.
You would know that they're a magical bag that allows you to store things and not have the weight impediment. The exact volume is uncertain, but you did see him empty the box into the bag.
Yanovan, are you going to waste our time, or are you just going to dump all of the contents out so we can just see?
And have to scoop it all back up? Why would I do that?
Because you're wasting our time.
I take some water, start washing up. Wash my face, get ready.
Do we know how to assess the value of this? I'm getting the impression we don't, because we're not being told the value of it.
Yeah.
I don't know, are you skilled in knowing how much a pair of silk gloves is worth?
Yeah, that's never come up in D&D before, honestly.
I'm gonna dump my bag into his box so we can see what's in my bag.
Okay. Yeah. There's a silver cloth hunter's cap, a iron short sword scabbard, a leather belt with a obsidian on it, a small wooden idol. What'd you say?
Who's the idol to? Do we have a religious check here?
You could. It doesn't seem familiar offhand. There's a silk hunter's cap trimmed with ermine. That's your religion check. You have never heard of this god, but from the looks of it, it looks like it would be some water deity. A small bag of incense and some gold, silver, and copper.
What's a 17 do?
Same thing. It looks to be some sort of water deity. From where or who it is unknown to you. It'd be a fairly high DC. It's not from your realm. Alright, so. Are you guys going to carry the box, or you want to request Yonovan load his bag up with the box contents?
You know, I don't like either option.
Well, I'm gonna scoop what I dumped out back in the bag.
Load it in the bag of holding. At least it's all together.
Also means you're not walking through town with a box full of treasure that's easily visible.
Yeah. I'd rather us hang together than hang separately.
I'd rather not hang at all.
That's a nice figure of speech there.
Well, the quote is, we should all hang together, or we will assuredly hang separately.
Yep.
Good old Benjamin Franklin.
Did he die in his bed?
Probably. Wasn't he always on a bed, though? He traveled on a bed, for goodness sake.
You mean a litter?
Yes, a litter. A bed. That other people carry.
If you guys want to know, I just posted in chat the contents of both boxes.
Nice.
Alright.
I'm assuming the scabbard does not actually contain a
Nope. And the chest with the symbol and no keyhole is not currently there, but you found it with the other things.
You posted in chat? I didn't see anything.
the tabletop.
And yeah.
Ah.
And we can't copy paste.
That's a lot of copper pieces.
Yep.
That would weigh a lot.
That's why it was a box and not just a little tiny chest or something.
My bag of holding.
Exactly. There's a reason it was a pretty high strength check that Rio had to do to carry it on that trek. Given that it was a natural 20, it kind of makes sense why she was able to pull it off, though. So, Gary comes back down. Alright, Captain said you guys are to come with me. He wants to see you on top deck. Apparently, he may have found a way for you to potentially get out of your bonds and be able to join the crew.
That sounds like a much better way than being liquidated. My march up front.
Okay.
We follow.
I follow.
He leads you all up to the top deck, where
Of course.
Emrakul, the captain, says, "Greetings. So, the individual who you successfully acquired that chest for wishes to meet you all."
So do we get to be liquidated, or do we get to join your crew? Or are we free?
Well, it's a little complicated. We're going to go meet Tiva, who is the aristocrat who requested me to recover that chest, that you successfully did so. And, Tiva is, not someone to be trifled with. So, meaning
Bad
that
temper, or...
Tiva is an aristocrat and someone of power.
Does he know General Soul?
Who?
Oh, never mind.
Oh, okay. Tiva is a dwarf. She's a bit hot-tempered. However, she holds some pretty good clout here. And so if she's willing, she can get the portion of the contract that involves you all potentially altered
Okay.
in one form or another, allowing me to acquire you as my crew instead of having to turn you over.
What would happen to us if we were turned over?
Beaten, used as slave labor, I don't know. Be thrown into gladiatorial pits.
Cool, so you lied to us. Got it.
What do you mean?
You said we would join your crew if we went on this mission for you.
I said the plan was to get you on my crew, which is what I'm working on, which is why I'm trying to not have you turned over, because I see that you all have good potential and would like you to be on my crew.
Mm-hmm. We call these lies of omission. Anyhow.
You're welcome to stay if you'd like, otherwise you can come with me and meet Tiva.
You mentioned that Tiva is not to be trifled with. Is there anything we can do to get on Tiva's good side?
You've currently done a very good portion of that. Apparently that was a special contents of family heirloom that she's been seeking for quite a while. So, pretty happy. So we just don't want to, hold your tongue and don't be so mouthy next time, shortling, or she may be displeased.
Okay. Before we head out, I would like to do an Arcana check on the silk gloves.
Go for it.
I'd also like to insight check, what would actually happen. He described what would happen to us, but I'm wondering if he's truly impressed with us that he'd be lying about our actual fate. If that makes sense.
Okay, do a roll.
I don't think this man lies. I don't think he's particularly motivated to care enough to lie, honestly.
We're still in front of him, guy.
Yanaven, the gloves are not magical.
Okay, cool.
They're just nicely crafted.
They might make a good present for a lady. Silk gloves threaded with gold.
Okay, so 21 is.
I'll keep those in my pocket away from the rest of the stuff in the bag so I don't have to dig around through a bag.
Is it one glove or two?
It says gloves.
It's a pair.
Do we have a dwarf in our party?
He's the one that mouthed off to the captain, which is why he called him a shortling.
Then I assume that the dwarf that are they an aesthetic compatible with dwarves? That was my question. But since you seem to think they are, that was
well. He may think it, whether he knows it or not is a different question. By the way, Cleok, from what you gathered, the captain's being pretty sincere that it's kind of up to the one who would hold your lives in his hands what he'd choose to do with you. He may choose to put you all in the gladiatorial pit since you've shown to have some skill in that regard. But still.
But the captain is not lying, or I don't think he's lying about our fate being worse than in order to try to persuade us to join his crew.
No. Alright, so you guys go through town. He leads you. It is a bustling, it's almost like a city, but it's kind of like a town at the same time. It's kind of a strange mix.
Are we still in the wild space?
Yes. You are. When you look up, you can actually see you're looking down at a planet.
Okay.
Okay. Place is weird.
Yeah, I'll second that.
So, you are definitely on a spaceport of some sort. So he leads you to this fine inn. It looks very well made. And brings you inside, and you see a dwarven lady sitting at a table, currently by herself, who gestures over to Emrakul when he walks in. He's like, be on your best behavior. She will take no insolence from you. Walks over. Greetings, Tiva. You requested to meet the individuals who I acquired that I would like to release from the flesh bond. These would be the company of those that acquired your family heirloom. He gestures to you all. Takes a step to the side.
I step up and bow and stand up before and present the silk gloves threaded with threaded with gold. So you found this in addition to the other things.
Well, I don't want an elven lass's garments, laddie.
Didn't come up in the Arcana check.
Cookie bursts out chuckling with that.
Arcana simply goes with magic. Arcana is, if it's magical aspects, it has no magical enchantments, no magical aspects. It is just very finely crafted gloves. They just happen to be of...
I rolled a 2 on my own insight check as to whether it would be acceptable to dwarves, so I figured that I didn't know anything.
Oh, you thought it was a great idea.
I take a step back. And
I can see you don't have much knowledge of this area. You definitely are a groundling. From where do you hail?
here and there, I'm a nomad.
From what sphere?
My lady. We are
Yes, bird?
We are still very uninitiated with this area. We don't even know what our sphere would be called here. Well, I don't know what my sphere would be called.
Ah, right. What was the place you called home? The continent.
Faerun.
Ah.
For myself.
We called our world Faerun. Whether that is what its crystal sphere name was, I do not know.
Faerun is technically a continent located there. But yes, I know of it.
I should have come from Nirn. Could have been Dragonborn.
No.
Okay.
Why?
Sorry. Go on.
I took off at this knowing that maybe she knows a way to get home.
It's a far other side of the galaxy. It's very interesting that you all have come. You've had a fairly long trek. That is interesting. How many of you are from this Faerun?
Myself?
I think I am too.
You are.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Traveled far and wide, but I never left the continent.
So, Yanaven, you were from Faerun?
Yes.
Ryu, are you from Faerun?
I don't know.
Okay.
Never met. But so about, and my memory seems a bit patchy. So I'm not sure where it came from.
Intriguing. Dudley? Dudley states, no, I'm from another location. I'll have to look up which one he's actually from because I don't have the name on hand right here. Gulgoth. I cannot remember. Ted, I know, was from Same location as Cookie. They were good friends. RN62, I do not see him here. He is not. He's actually from another sphere. Talon, you said you were from Faerun, and so is Kleok. So that is 4 confirmed individuals from Faerun. So, interesting bunch of groundlings. So why would you wish to be anything more than servants of someone who knows the stars better than you?
Is that referring to being servants of the captain or servants of her?
Diva is asking you this, and she's referring to the flesh contract the captain currently has that you are bound as part of. Basically, why would you not wish to be part of that? Yes, human.
My land has a practice of drafting its citizens for war for a few years, and I myself was contracted, being of little strength. I made do as a chef and a song maker, but after serving my time, I found that adventure and camaraderie is far more interesting in this life than just serving somewhere. Although many choose that life.
Okay.
I make
want to see what's out there.
I make great weapons for whoever would pay me. I travel far and wide, and I make things, and they pay me for them. I have no desire to be ruled over, but to be recognized for my craftsmanship.
I got bored serving at the library, and I left to see more of the world and serving on the ship and everything else to see more of the planets and everything else. So that's probably why.
He wants to go everywhere, huh?
I mean, I'm a nomad. I understand that.
Perhaps it is just my, what's the right word? Ignorance at being a groundling. But flesh contract doesn't sound very good where I come from. So I would prefer to as well journey to land on a ship. That doesn't sound very good at all. My charisma's 8, man.
That was perfect for an 8 charisma. Very well. And what about you there, lassie? Why would you rather not serve someone? Serving someone isn't all bad.
I refuse to be a slave any longer, and I plan to defeat anyone who tries to say otherwise.
So you have something against slavery there, lassie?
I think being on the other side of it, it's not something against it.
So you have something just against being one and not necessarily others being one. Is that what you're saying?
I think so.
So you don't know what you're saying at all, is what you're telling me, lassie.
I think if you want to enslave me again, you'd better be ready for it.
Lassie,
Another step away from him.
if I wanted to enslave you, it would not be all that difficult. I just am not one who thinks slavery is the best means of getting what you need. But don't think that means it wouldn't be very simple for me. Or that I don't know that others here are perfectly thrilled with that. Any other statements from any of you as to why you wish to be unimpeded or released from this?
I do have one question.
Yes, Bird?
Everything like this has a price. What do you gain from potentially allowing us to be released from this contract?
Potentially useful associates that I could request do further service for me down the road. You're skilled in acquiring this heirloom for me, which I appreciate, and so you've already done some to pique my interest.
You treat on favors.
I treat on business. Everything is business.
I see.
Your captain here is a good individual. Emrakul has served on a number of missions fairly well, until he had this unfortunate event that got him into this contract he's now requesting alterations to.
Is it, no one will give us much of a straight answer. Is it very common for people to be taken as slaves from ground worlds?
It depends on which organizations you are dealing with. There are a number of organizations who tend to find that sort of thing, how shall we say, desirable. Groundlings are so foolish about this realm. Ignorance breeds submission often. It's much easier to subdue those who are lost than those who are not.
Yes. We would be very grateful if you could point us in the direction of knowledge. Because you are right. We need to know the language of this land.
She points to the captain standing next to you.
How is it that you speak our language? I just thought of that.
It's the common tongue. It's used on mini-spheres.
Whoa, that doesn't make sense.
It's very convenient.
Ask the creators of D&D. No, it's fine. That was actually something that was hilarious watching on a number of topics is the creators of D&D were like, well, you gotta have a common language. It's the same thing in Star Wars, Star Trek, Spelljammer. They all have a common tongue. Why?
Well, they have the translator from Star
Because
Trek.
we obviously came from one spot and to spread out.
That doesn't matter.
They have the
So
translator.
did, the language of England is the same as originally from, England. It's also same origins for the one of Ireland and Scotland and Australia in America. So it's like, no, the dialects would still be quite different.
Especially
But
the more you
they're not. Yeah.
It's because we don't want to spend 3 years of
Game time. Mm-hmm. That's correct. Just like they don't want to spend the first half of the movie having all the characters of the movie learn how to speak other languages. Yeah. No, I get it.
13th Warrior.
Well, it's not the first half of the movie. It's the first, maybe a quarter.
It felt like the first half.
They should
Sh-
have scripted him as a faster learner.
Shall we get back to the topic at hand of Tiva?
Yes.
Okay. Tiva's like, very well then. Imrukul speaks highly of you and says he wishes to have you fill his holes in his crew, as it were, as the unforeseen pirate interaction he dealt with. I will see what I can do. I would recommend you use any of the loot you had acquired in those foul greenskins as a means of equipping yourselves. The captain will travel with you as a understanding in this area that you are not to be messed with yet. As the captain is currently under my employ, you will be safe while you're with him. And I will send a message to you as soon as I can get this matter resolved. She has a kind of a very mischievous grin on her face. You can tell she's not fond of the individuals who Emrakul currently owes.
That's great news.
Yay!
I will pay attention to what the captain does to follow him out as we leave.
Thank you. I bow and follow out.
Yeah, that's Emrakul.
Yeah.
Emrakul bows and says, "Thank you, Lady Teve. I wait to hear for your word."
Says and
Thank you.
follow him.
I also bow and follow.
Okay. You guys can do some shopping. What would you like to acquire?
I'm a monk. I don't get. Yeah.
Well, you have a basic set of clothes, and that's all you have, other than the loot that was just listed.
Oh, they let me keep my loot. Oh man.
No. L
They
U.
let me keep
The
it.
other loot.
Yes, LOOT. If you want your loot instrument, you can go and find a music shop.
Question: so they sold everything, including my metalworking tools?
Yes, everything.
Well, you can go try to
Incredible.
find where they sold it to.
It was part of the contract that one of the abilities to do the loophole was the way it was worded, that she can slightly interpret it differently, and she could find a breach, and with a slight push of her station, get it to basically mean that which you were equipped and carrying at the time instead of your bodies.
Oh, so we sacrificed our things to save our lives. Got it.
If you want to trade, we could do that.
No. I mean, I might trade some of our party for my things, but not myself.
All right, I'm gonna step off for a few minutes, let you guys kind of brainstorm what kind of stuff you want to look for. You can scribble on a table and make a shopping list. Yes, I
We've got-
posted in chat everything.
Just what?
Y'all didn't count.
I did 710 gold pieces.
It's not just convertible to gold. It is in its forms.
They are art objects. They are convertible to gold.
He listed the gold price of it, which means it's basically there for us to sell as money.
Right, but we still have to sell it and see if we can get a. Well, it depends on how mean he is. If he'll let us just convert it.
If it's not going to be fun to play, he'll let you just convert it. If he thinks it'll be fun, then you'll have to RP it.
Okay. Well, I'm probably gonna keep the leather belts out of obsidian, and see if I can store a spell in the obsidian.
You
So
can store spells
anything-
and gems.
Anything you keep will be deducted from your share of the loot.
Sure, the
I'm
loot
not
only
sure
took
what
us
my-
grabbed it.
I'm not sure how many people are dividing stuff. That's the problem.
Well, not everyone participated in any of the combat, so I don't know how we do that. My
Not
guess
everyone
is it's probably
participated in
around
looting.
100. Because I think there was about 7 of us when we had that combat, or am I wrong?
That's roughly correct, but it's hard to tell. We haven't ever been consistent.
Well then, so somewhere between 80 and 100 gold is what you can probably have.
Let's not dish out the gold, but for when we all buy stuff in bulk, so that we all keep it together. I mean, unless you all want to split ways.
You know, some of
I
us
want
are
to.
going to be more costly than
We'll
others.
have to stay together.
Right.
I came up with my shopping list, but it can be adjusted.
Yeah, I need my tools back, man.
Yeah.
Well, luckily for you, the monk doesn't need really hardly anything.
That's fine.
Right.
You'll contribute to the others.
I'm assuming that this world is like the rest of our worlds in that we cannot buy magical items. A potion of healing is probably the most magical we could buy.
Correct. Potions of healing are like 50 gold piece each normally.
Mm-hmm.
So probably won't be picking those up.
How much our share is.
I'm just happy I kept my bag of holding.
I'm basically going to buy back all of the equipment that I already had on myself.
That's a class feature, so I kind of would feel bad taking a class feature from you.
I mean, so is my gun, but you know, whatever.
That's a little bit easier. Yeah, I was gonna say that's a little bit easier to reacquire, as you just need your tools and some time.
Yeah, but it takes some time to redo the tools.
True.
Materials.
Potentially no, because you could actually find some potentially here in town that would work.
Right, so my bag got upgraded to a bag of holding, so I don't need to redo the bag, but I still need to buy the tools. So I need a hammer and such.
Yeah, it would be a smith's tools would be
Yeah.
listed as an item.
Yeah, so I need smith's tools. I want a thieves kit back, even though I have one lockpit left. But if it, yeah.
You need a thieves kit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Rio will request some custom clothing. That is what you'd prefer to go buy.
Okay.
Standard rations, but you know.
I suggest
Yeah.
we all pick explorer packs because it's 10 gold and it gives you the rations and bedrolls and basic stuff.
Yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah, Cleoc, if you know the pricing, feel free to slap it on there, so we can start totaling everything up. See where you guys are at for your funds.
Can we go to a bank and just liquidate our stuff to gold that we don't
Yeah.
want to keep?
I assumed you would liquidate everything in that list unless there's something particular you choose to not liquidate.
I was going to keep the leather belt with the obsidian in hopes to store a spell in the gem.
The gem isn't one that can hold a spell. It's not a spell storing gem.
Okay, then I'll sell it with the rest.
You'd have to make it magical gem to do that.
Shame.
What are the darts for?
Dart is a weapon. Thrown weapon. Similar to a dagger, but
Can
only be
javelin
thrown.
throw and shrink it to about half. At least if it's the throwing dart from the D&D book, they're about what 2 feet long or 3 feet long.
Yeah. I'm just, have a ranged weapon just in case. And so I want to replace my spear. I want to replace my darts. I want to replace my explorer's pack. I want a potion of healing because I hate dying. And if we somehow have money left over, I want my loot back.
You want to loot?
Yes. LUTE, musical instrument.
Right. I know.
Okay.
Although obviously, it's like if like the tools need to craft the gun or
That shouldn't be expensive, but it'll take me 3 days of work to remake the gun.
All right. So your smith tools are 20 gold. Your loot is 35. Dang. My viola's 30.
I get the feeling that that might get cut for more useful things, but you know.
That's what I'd like to have. But I can make do with leather and a cheaper weapon.
But theoretically, Cleoc can get by with basically 11 gold pieces worth of stuff.
You don't need the loot, but the loot is.
So
I need the veal.
I don't need the potion of healing either. So, but
I'm not gonna sell our potion of healing.
Pen is left over.
So they took my pouch that had the. Yeah, it's prerogative. They give me back my pouch.
What's in your pouch?
I had 2 potions of healing and some gems.
Then no.
was that from your? Was that loot you captured, or is that stuff you had when you started?
That's the loot I captured.
When did you capture potions of healing? Potion of healing if there's money left over, but my share of the equipment purchases is going to be 50 gold.
Okay, so we have. What was the total on that cookie? You said you had totaled up
710.
710.
Yeah.
Okay.
James is saying that he had found some gems that weren't priced out and 2 potions of healing in the dungeon.
I believe those were in the list that I gave from the stuff that was found in with the box that you're sent to get.
Okay, because those were separate and far from the other stuff we had found earlier.
Was that from the trash room?
That was from the treasure room.
The treasure room, that's where the box you're sent to get was in the treasure room.
And there were 2 other boxes that we.
But there was a boss room that the other chests were in.
I originally found
right.
chests. I found some potions and I found some gems, which I put in my. I had a pouch.
Okay.
I put them there.
Some of the stuff you found was from that first list that was in the. They had put it all in the one box, and it had been in that room, the treasure room. That potion of healing was the one that was on that list that I put in chat that you guys have, as well as the gems that were listed there as well.
Okay, so it's all there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I figured you'd throw what you acquired in the list so everyone knew the total amount acquired.
All right. So Macaulay, you want 50? Do you care to list out what that is, or just it's 50? That's fine. It's all right.
All of the items are just mundane items. I have closed dagger, some ale, component pouch, a arcane focus, rations, water skin, backpack, blanket, fishing rod and tackle, mess kit, sack.
Okay. That's fine. So you, Brian, you need 100 gold piece just for the cannon, right?
Yeah.
If we get the
And you
potion of
need
healing.
20 gold piece for the smith tools.
Yep.
What else do you need?
Thieves kit would be nice if I'm gonna keep picking those.
And that's what, 25?
I believe so. Someone else looked it up.
Let me.
I don't have it open right now.
Yes, you need a thieves kit. It's
Okay.
not an option because someone has to have it.
Right.
You just may be collecting that stuff. I've got it here.
Okay. And just having a hand axe as a weapon until I get my other thing built. Just a cheap weapon. Or I could even just do a dagger if that's cheaper. But I won't be very useful for 3 days.
Daggers are actually kind of expensive. Okay, so you want to have hand axe is fine.
I take it you're taking care of the inventory and shopping?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm shopping.
I started to, but then it sounded like you were, so I made sure.
Okay. Hand axe 5, dagger 2. You can have a weapon, that's fine. We're not going to begrudge you having a weapon. Even though you have a lot of other expensive things, it's okay.
I'll be more useful in future missions.
By the way, while he's adding up, Yonovan, I need you to roll a perception check.
Perception is still perfect.
How do I scroll up? Oh, there we go.
I'm very intently watching Cookie.
What did you say, Cookie?
Never mind.
Okay.
Lore pack.
Cookie's keeping a running list of what he'd like on the table. I don't know if you saw that.
Just I haven't seen it yet. No.
I figured since I can't see in the dark, maybe I should get a lantern too.
I can always increase your light ability.
I'm not always going to be with you, though.
That's true. True.
So, anything particular you guys want to do while you guys are shopping, or you just want to stumble around, get your shopping done, and head back to the ship?
Well, in addition to shopping, I definitely want to look around and try to perceive what I can about the nature of this world, kind of study it. How does society function? Are there a lot of slaves? Are there a lot of merchants? Are there stores? All these things I want to take note of.
Okay. Remind me when you're done doing your calculations, and I'll get back to you on that. I figured I'd run with anyone else who had stuff while you finish that up, so that we'd allow you time to do it without dead air.
Wow, Kleak, that's really interesting.
Ryu would like to find a tailor and get some custom-made clothes.
You want custom clothes?
Yeah, sure.
Did you put that on your list of items that have been sold, or did you put it on the list of items you're buying, or has that not been added yet?
Clothes? Sorry, I didn't hear all the question. It cut out.
I was wondering if John has already been given the numbers so he can calculate that or not.
No, that was extra. I don't know anything about clothing. I was given 50 gold piece from him, and that's all I was told.
So 5 of that 50 is for clothing. I don't know what custom clothing would cost.
Leave it up to to your bartering skills.
Actually,
Well,
I'd probably have trouble finding lanterns considering the nature of how fire works here. Even though my character doesn't know this.
Actually, it wouldn't be hard because you're currently on a base that's not in the phlogiston. You're inside a crystal sphere. Fine clothing, tailor-made clothing is 15 gold.
okay, so I'd have to either increase the amount of gold by 10 or not get custom clothing.
Go commando.
Well, I've been doing that this whole time. Didn't you notice?
No, I keep my eyes on the prize.
I feel insulted by that.
Basic traveler's clothing is 2 gold, and then common clothes or kind of like costume clothing stuff is 5. But actual nice clothing, custom-made clothing is 15.
I guess I should upgrade to traveler's clothing
It's
to the
15
common.
gold?
For fancy clothes.
Okay.
Even custom made clothing that's simple.
Why do you want custom made clothing?
Because it's a passion of actual Ryan.
That and it fits my character. I mean, there aren't very many girls in the party, are there?
There's one. So yeah.
Um, yeah, no, custom-made clothing is better clothing. It's made specially for you, so it would tend to fall in the fine clothing category. Traveler's clothing is what you're given, is basically 2 gold for it, because in lower tech world, clothing production costs a bit more than it would in our world.
Yeah. Okay, so
So,
do I have to roll to find a tailor and
let's have you roll to see what grade and speed of a tailor you find.
okay, would it be my perception check, I assume?
Investigation.
So plus 1 to that. I got a 3.
Awesome. You see a shop with a needle and thread, basically denotating clothing of some sort, sewing. And you see a list that says tailoring, clothing, repair, outfits.
I want to go in and inspect their goods and see what they have available currently.
Okay.
I feel like we're running around the mall, and me being a monk not wanting any of this crap is just, waiting for all of my friends who are browsing all of the stores while I'm tapping my foot.
Yes.
You gotta do something while John totals up the money.
Okay, so here's my conflict, guys, okay?
Okay.
What we have come up with so far is minus the healing potions, mind you, is about, I mean, let's see. Let me add that up quick here. Where's the calculator here? Okay. 1, 4, 2.
Okay, Rio, you go and you see they have a fairly decent selection, different clothings,
Okay.
fairly well made. You see this older-looking guy behind the counter.
So I'm gonna browse through what they have currently and see if they have something that would fit my needs as it is. Can I roll an investigation check for this?
Yep.
So I'm looking for something that fits my body shape, but is also more or less a robe that allows lots of movement or freedom, and is probably a nice color, maybe like tealish, blackish, somewhere in there. Black and teal. That would be great.
Cleok, you see Rio go into this clothing shop, and a good 2, 3 hours later, you see she goes to the clothing room finally and tries out her outfit of black and teal robe that she's finally been able to find, and it fits okay. It'll pass for what you want, but it's not the most thrilling.
Can I pay him to have him tailor it real quick into something that fits better than okay?
You can ask him.
I will. Is that a persuasion check?
Yep.
You've already spent what, 2 or 3 hours there?
And you need to kind of roll for it, but you also need to play it out and see how you would actually talk to him.
Excuse me, fine sir.
What do you want? What? Speak up.
Quite right. I was wondering if you could tailor it to fit my body a little bit better.
Of course we can. What do you want?
I would like it to be nice and smoother, and it constricts my movement a little bit when I move my arm like this. And can you raise it up around the legs a bit more so they're freer?
What, you trying to wear some skimpy short skirt?
Yeah.
Does this look like a hooker joint to you? Go down the street, if that's what you want.
Not quite that. Just tone it down a little bit.
Where do you want it then?
Halfway between the knee and the thigh. That should be about good. Just enough to be enticing, but not to show off the goods.
He has this very, disapproving scowl at you. Let me check with a missus and see how long it'd take her to do your dirty request. After 10 minutes, he comes back out. She said it'll take 3 days.
I'm not sure if we have that much time. Let me check with my compatriots. How long are we going to be here?
I wouldn't. No, today. I'm pretty sure today's the day we can shop.
Also, silly question. I'm assuming that there's just clothes that fit winged people like me.
It requires slight modification since it's a little bit more rare, but it wouldn't be hard to do.
Yeah, that's one of the problems too, I guess.
Well, you gotta imagine that there's a lot of different shapes and people around here.
Right. But I figured I'd ask just in case I need to.
Yeah, no, it's not so uncommon for something like that they've never heard of it, but it's uncommon enough that it's not just half their stock or anything. There's something there that would require some minor customization to work for you, but
so all the clothes are all these different colors. I get the worst color out there is the ones that have holes for wings. Got it.
yeah, not quite, but almost. You have your selection of 3 choices opposed to the 10 other people get.
Like what? Black, white, and purple? I don't know.
Purple's a good color.
No.
Mark?
Yes.
You probably want, something to spark stuff. Can you make fire?
No.
Matches are pretty darn cheap, Or whatever it's called.
What are those? What's that?
I wasn't thinking about that, but I guess something like I don't know.
There's a something specifically designed for that. Starting fires.
Tinderbox.
Yes.
I was looking for something like that.
Isn't it like a couple silver or something?
Fireballs?
It's cheap.
It's 5 silver, but yeah.
Right. That's what I want to give you. It's actually just as expensive to have a tinderbox as your 5 things of oil, which is weird. But it never runs out, so whatever.
Maybe flint and steel's expensive.
Theoretically, my lantern lasts for 6 hours per flask of oil.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So,
I found a rock.
You did.
that's a nice rock.
I was going to ask if it was a rock or something else.
Don't insult it.
Please wait till I have evasion before you throw those at us.
I was going to say, it doesn't quite look like a rock from my screen. It looks like something else.
Rock golem here. 32.
So while Rio was shopping, I asked the captain, it's like, how long are we going to wait for him? Can we just leave her and come back?
Oh, the captain's been reading a book this whole time. He's like, what? Sorry, I was just reading to pass the time. I figured no need to waste time. What were you asking?
Never mind.
Do you have a book?
I just sit and meditate, or try to, in the middle of the city. Let's see
Macaulay,
how this works out.
Can I have a list of what you ordered? I'm sorry. Could you describe it again to me?
Who?
Ryu, I think he said he wanted to know what your shopping list was.
1 sec.
There was a rock on my shopping list, so I had to throw it off the edge of the table. Because there's lots of rocks being made.
They clink.
Someone's throwing him in a bag.
I'm trying to throw him off the table.
Stop it, you'll burst my bag of holding.
We had the request if it was possible to actually, have a rocks fall, everyone dies scenario in the tabletop simulator.
So I did find it interesting. You know how like the gray area is the GM's area?
Yeah.
It still doesn't stop me from reaching in here and grabbing that rock over there.
Yeah, I know.
Let's see. Ooh, there's something else. I found his bag of PCs. But I've noticed that I've thrown some rocks in the GM area, trying to throw it off the table.
Yeah, you put him in the bag.
Nice. It was not my intention of putting them actually in the bag. But the problem is that when I throw them off the table, they respawn in the middle.
Yeah, I know.
But then how is Cookie gonna see my awesome shopping list of...
You.
I've already got your shopping list, but what I need is Ryu's.
Yeah, Ryu.
That I just emailed John.
Okay. I haven't gotten it yet. Okay, here we go.
And then I'd need to update it for the close. Assuming
Okay,
that,
that's really confusing. Okay. You've added it up. You know, that's funny. So, these things that you wanted to buy here. Okay, so minus the health potion, you're at 40 gold piece, and then the backpack is a separate thing compared to the first list.
So
right.
basically, it was what I was carrying on my person, what I was carrying in my backpack, and then any random bits and pieces.
How much are bags of holding?
500.
Okay.
How did you afford one to begin with?
I made it.
It's his class feature.
Yeah, it's a class feature, which is why I didn't take it from him. That'd be like me saying you can't cast one of your spells anymore.
He's not that big of a.
All right. So, here's what happens.
Sorry, go on.
It apparently stopped at
Yeah, it has very limit of how much you can do.
that. So, I went ahead and I gave myself only the regular leather armor, but the better weapon, the healer's kit, the instrument, and a particular note. I went ahead and bought extra clothes, and a climber's kit. The climber's kit, I don't know if I'm the best person for it, but someone in our party needs to have a climber's kit.
I think Cleoc needs it.
Whoever's got high dex.
Well, he can already fly, so he probably doesn't need it.
Now, it really depends on if I want to take climber's kit and actually, fly up to place and make it easier to.
Okay, we can deal with that aspect of it when it comes. Okay, and our explorer packs have rope on them too. So,
Cleoc's too short-sighted to buy a climber's kit for everyone else. He just thinks that if he needs to help people climb, he will just carry his rope with him.
That's fine, and we might get away because you can fly. We might get away without having a climber's kit, honestly. But it's a high priority item to buy early on, so I say we should buy it. Brian's, unfortunately, he's a gold sink because
my gun got stolen.
He's got a weapon, he's got smith tools, he's got a thief's kit, and he's got to have those things. And beyond then, give him the basics. He doesn't get much more basic than leather armor and a hand axe.
Right. I'm trying to be light.
With an explorer pack and clothes. So
now I absolutely don't need my loot. That's why I put it under optional item.
We're gonna give you your loot.
I can go without.
Because honestly, here's the thing. Okay, we got 710 gold, and we spent 387.
Oh, okay, we're fine.
All right. Now, we could buy some extra things that we want to buy.
But it's best to have a reserve.
But there's there's party members not here.
Right, and that's a bit rude to spend all of it.
Okay. So
can we just do the rule that any gold we have left over that they don't spend, we buy health potions with and distribute them between the party as necessary?
It's not also good to empty your gold reserve. Just in case something comes up.
It's not good to be without health potions unless something comes up.
This is true, but we don't need to have tons. We don't need to have a health potion per person necessarily.
No, it really depends on how much gold we have left over. I'm figuring it's going to be like 200 gold, maybe, which would be like 4 health potions. So
we can also just right now buy basic leather armor for everyone, or cost that out for people that are not here.
We'll deal with them out of session.
Okay.
Okay. But I'm gonna make a list here and send it out as part of the email. All right. So we do our shopping. Everyone does their. Oh my gosh. Everyone does their shopping. Wow.
There's actually
Yes, I got a nat 20 on that. On one of them.
There's actually some dice that roll in one of my games I play. And if it hits you, you die automatically. No save.
Well, I figured would be more suitable than rocks fall, everyone dies is a bunch of d20s fall, everyone dies.
I wouldn't mind, having at least one of these d20s on the table, when we actually do rolling instead of using the calculator.
Sure.
Even though it's a little bit slower, but still, it could be fun.
I've got those 2 metal huge d20s at home that I like to roll too.
And now, of course, having 20 factorial d20s is a little bit excessive, but
yeah, combat we should still use the rollers just because it
Right.
it, which is easier to keep track of.
For role playing things though, sometimes it's fun just to roll something real.
Yeah, especially if only one's rolling at a time. I agree.
sometimes though it's just fun to be a rogue and just roll your sneak attack damage on a crit and roll like 20d6. Of course, that would be a level 20 rogue, but who doesn't want to roll 20d6?
Exactly. Alright, gents. Well, it looks like we have our bearings for next week. You guys got your shopping done. You have some money left over. And you're ready to be initiated as members of a crew. How exciting. You actually got out of being sold off as slaves.
Yay! Never any doubt.
Illithids are always hungry.
There was no doubt.
So, let's see here. That will give us where we pick up next week. We'll have the message come in. You guys have actually been accepted onto Emrakul's ship as full-fledged crew. You get to have the celebration with the crew when you get back, and between that time, I'm hoping I'll have a little bit of time I can roll up a random quest like I did for this one. That chest and even her name, all of that was just pure random gen. I didn't plan any of it. I just rolled on the thing and it came up as that. So
Now, you don't have to tell us, but I am curious whether that was actually the treasure room we had planned out, or whether there was actually, something in all of them.
Oh, I rolled, and for session 1 and session 2, I had to roll a d20. I roll a d20, of course, and it had to be a 20 for it to be the room that you find it in. 3-4, it went to a 19, and then 5-6, it would have been 18 up. So just so happens you went in that room, and I roll a 19, and that's the room that you found.
Fair enough. And you did that for each room that we entered.
Yes. I told you it's a random game. It's going to be lots of random, unplanned chaos.
Okay.
So, are we missing more than Steven, Nielsen, and Donkey?
I don't think so. Hold on. So yeah, you guys get back to the ship with Emrakul. You guys get to have a party, and that's what we'll pick up next week. Is you guys celebrating the fact that you actually get to be part of the crew, introducing the new mission, and we'll head out from there. Any other questions or thoughts before we call that a wrap on that portion?
Unfortunately, I won't be here next week, so
No.
yeah, work sucks.
So
Okay,
as far
well.
as shopping, I see Cookie, I see Macaulay, I see Brian, I see myself.
Yes.
Okay.
So that makes 4 people. So we still need
Steven.
Yeah.
Steven, and then the people who aren't here.
Yep.
So,
So, all right.
do I get anything in there or no?
That's what I was wondering. I was like, I think it's actually Talon you're missing that hasn't been mentioned yet for shopping list.
Yeah, I
talent.
don't have talent stuff here.
All right.
I just need some basic stuff.
All right, I'll hang on for a minute. We'll work something out here.